Hey, it's your favorite remote work enthusiast, Delilah. In today's video, I'm going to share with you how you can write an awesome, dazzling, job landing resume focusing on online jobs. Now, if you are new to this channel, this probably won't be the first time you hear me say that I'm a remote work enthusiast. And if you're not new to this channel, you know, I literally say it in every single video. But I'm not just a remote work enthusiast. I'm actually a human resources professional. And I've been working from home since 2016, and I've actually been working in my own HR consultancy since 2017. And from day one, I've always had a niche in remote first companies. And I've helped out a lot of companies with their hiring needs. And because of that, I have a lot of resumes, actually hundreds, thousands of resumes in a folder that I go through and I basically analyze. And because I have access to so many resumes and I've done all the analysis and whatnot, I've made some really great conclusions about what works and what doesn't work so well in a resume that will help you get hired, what that will help you move on to the next steps. So that is exactly what I'm going to share with you today. And I've also used this information to create some of my most popular courses. So if you're interested in learning about any of those, then definitely check the description box below. But first things first, we must take care of business. If you're interested in working from home and finding out the latest information about work from home jobs and companies, then you definitely need to subscribe and tap the notification bell, because I share these hot leads every single weekday, and you really do have to have your notifications on so that you don't miss out on any of this content. So once you take care of that business, we are ready to jump in. Now, I want to preface all the information that I'm going to share with you in this video by saying that there are a lot of resume writing gurus out there, and just about all of them have a slightly different strategy for writing a really awesome resume. And then there's myself. You know, I just happen to work in HR. And I might say something that another person doesn't recommend, or I might recommend something that another person doesn't. And you know what? Everybody is right as long as the mission is being accomplished. And the mission is to effectively tell the story of your career. So first thing to understand with your resume, because we're getting right on into it, is your resume is the story of your career. When someone is looking to hire you, they need to be able to look at your resume and see exactly what you've done and where. And that is what is important for your resume. Anything outside of establishing what you've done professionally does not belong on your resume. So if you're able to accomplish that mission, your resume tells the story of your career effectively and to the point, then you are using the right strategy to write your resume. And whether that's my strategy or someone else's, it really doesn't matter as long as you accomplish that goal. So getting into the elements of a really great resume, we want to make sure that our structure and the organization of our resume is on point. So front and center at the top, we want to have our contact information. We need to include our first and last name, our phone number, our email address, and a link to our LinkedIn account. Now, I know some people say, well, I don't do social media, Delilah. I don't have a LinkedIn. Well, to that, I say you definitely need to get on LinkedIn. It's 2022, and LinkedIn is an industry standard, especially if you are seeking an online job. You want to make sure that you create a LinkedIn profile and you go through it and fill it out thoroughly. You want to have a nice professional headshot, and you don't have to get fancy. You can just take something with your phone. It's all about chest up, and you just want to look really professional. So that is my recommendation. And like I say, it is an industry standard these days. So make sure you take your time to create a LinkedIn account. And I will also add that it's not like the other social platforms. It's not like people are sharing what they ate that day or, you know, what they're doing. It's all about business, work, professionalism, okay? So make sure that you create a LinkedIn account. The next section on your resume is your summary or your objective or your profile. You take your pick. Now, there are some hiring gurus out there who will tell you that they do not like objectives. They're outdated. They don't want to see it. And you know what? If you want to be cautious and not give somebody something that they don't want to see, then you can just opt for a summary or a profile. If you choose to go with an objective, there are still hiring professionals out there like myself who do not mind seeing them. So you just want to make sure that you accomplish your mission by stating who you are as a candidate and what type of opportunity and what you bring to the table in whichever one of those that you choose. Summary, profile, objective, you take your pick. The next section is your education. This is where you can add relevant coursework or classes. And if you did really well in school and you want to show off that fact, then you can also add your GPA. It's completely up to you if you want to add it or leave it off. And then the next section that you want to add is your work experience. And this is where you would put down information about the company, how long you worked there, and the results that you garnered in the positions that you worked in. And those are really important areas that you want to have on your resume, and you want to put them in that order. So, fun fact, you may or may not know this, but you have about 6 seconds on average for a hiring manager to look over your resume. And because you have such little time, it is really important that you don't make that hiring manager struggle to find the important information that they're looking for, and you actually help them by using some elements to your benefit. And that is underlining, bolding, using italicized text, and bullet points. Now, when done really well, it just looks beautiful and it helps the eye go from one section to the next section easily. Okay, all the information that you want to point out is easy to find. But when done poorly, it just is a huge eyesore. If everything is bolded, nothing stands out. If everything is in italics, then everything is a headache to look at. And again, you don't want to make that hiring manager struggle to find what they're looking for, because they won't. They're just gonna move on to the next resume. So when done really well, those elements help the hiring manager find all of the important information that they're looking for. And that makes their job so much easier, and it makes it easier for you to move on to the next step in the hiring process. Now, as far as size and style of font, you want to make sure you use something between 10 and 12 inches. Anything smaller than 10 inches is too difficult to read. It's just too tiny. And then anything beyond 12 inches is too big and takes up way too much space, and your resume will be pages long. And then as far as the style of font, you want to use a sans serif font. These style of fonts tend to be easiest on the eye. And for margins, you don't want to go for anything smaller than a 1/2 inch on either side. Another common question about resumes is, how long should your resume be? Now, I always think about resumes in terms of prime real estate. And a lot of times prime real estate isn't all that big. So you want to make sure that you put your best stuff on your prime real estate, also known as your resume. So the general rule of thumb is anywhere from 1 to 4 years of relevant work experience should comfortably fit onto one page. 5 years and beyond, you can move on to a second page. And if you have relevant experience that pertains to the job that you're applying to, and you run out of room on your second page, then thinking about your prime real estate, thinking about all of the organization and structural things that we discussed and how you only have 6 seconds, if you feel it is necessary, then move on to a third page. Now, speaking of work experience, you want to always make sure that you are showing and not just telling what you did and accomplished in your previous work experience. So, under every work experience that you have in the bullet point section, you want to always start off with an action verb. And then you always, as much as possible, want to follow that action verb by what you did and the result that you garnered. And this is the best formula for proving to prospective employers that you don't just show up to work, you show up and you get results. Now, another important thing to convey on your resume is letting them know that you are ready for a remote environment. And some of the attributes that make a remote candidate really attractive is conveying that you are a self-starter, you're on time, you're resourceful, you're a logical thinker, and all the other things that you can think of that make someone attractive when working from home. Because if you think about it, your prospective employer does not have the luxury of being able to hover over you while you're at your cubicle or walk around and see if everybody is on task. They're not able to micromanage you. Not that anyone should ever do that, but that's something that they can do in a traditional setting. But when you're in a remote setting, you're the one who has to get up, go to your workstation, get things started. You're gonna have to make sure that you use the resources provided to you in training in the best possible way, because they don't want someone always emailing, asking questions about how do I do this or how do I do that, especially if they gave you the tools to find answers to those questions on your own. And you just start thinking about things from their perspective. Like you think about who they would want to show up for the job that they're hiring for, and what attributes and skills and experiences that they would want that person to have as told by the job lead, then it's not very hard to wrap our mind around that and to convey that on the story of our career, also known as our resume. So I would be remiss if I didn't mention customization in this video. And I know everybody says customize, but if we were to actually ask people, do you understand what it means to customize your resume? A lot more people than not would say they don't understand. And that's okay, because there's a lot of stuff out there, a lot of noise about how to customize. And customization is actually very simple, which I'll explain right now. So when you are customizing your resume, you're always doing it tailored to the job that you are specifically applying for. That's why it's always important to have the job lead out in front of you when you are customizing your resume. And you want to look at the different areas mentioned on the job lead, the information mentioned, and you want to compare that to your own experiences and start thinking about where can you use the same type of language and express the abilities that they're looking for that you possess on your resume. So some very easy areas to customize. Every job lead has a summary or like an overview of the job. Well, we can also take our summary or profile or objective to insert some of the things that that job lead mentions that we are also in possession of. The things that we are looking to do that the job lead is looking for someone to do. We can also look at the requirements on a job lead. And if you look at the requirements, usually it'll say something about your work experience or your education. We know on our resume that we have both an education and a work experience section, where we want to just make sure that we accomplish the goal of the education requirements and the years of experience in a specific area requirements. So we have the ability to showcase that. And then on a job lead, you might see where it mentions the specific responsibilities of that role. Again, we can use our work experience, the job experience that we have, and we can use that to highlight the responsibilities that they want us to have and our experience doing those responsibilities. So sometimes we might phrase a position that we've done a little bit differently than how the job lead phrases it. And that's an opportunity for us to use the same language that the job lead uses. So we're not keyword stuffing. We're not just randomly using the words that they put on their job lead in our resume. We're being strategic about when we had those types of responsibilities in our previous work experiences and highlighting that. That is customization in a nutshell. So when you do all of the things that I just mentioned really well, you connect the dots and it's going to be easy to move on to the next step. Now, personally, I know that even with all of this information, it still can be a bit intimidating when you actually get to the keyboard and you start typing to make your resume, which is why I created the Remote Resume Builder software. This is my own personal software that I created for students of my courses and for people who just want to make really great resumes and cover letters. All of the areas that I discussed here, the structure, the organization, the italics, italics and the bolding and the underlining and all of that good stuff is built into this resume builder. And you don't have to worry about what to bold or underline or the organization or the structure, because you'll just go through the resume wizard and create a great resume. And you can also create really great cover letters in this software. And what I really like about this software is because you're customizing your resumes and your cover letters for jobs, I like the fact that you can store all of the created resumes and cover letters. You can easily duplicate, go in and edit, and it makes customizing a breeze. So if you're interested in getting my software, the link is in the description box below, and I'm offering you a trial, and I think you're really gonna like it, and I think you're gonna get a lot of benefit out of it when you're applying to these online jobs. So there you have it. That is how you create a really great resume. And I know I shared a lot of information with you, but I promise you it's not that difficult. Writing a resume is just the story of your career. And as long as you focus on giving the hiring manager the information that they need to know whether or not you're a good fit for the job that they're hiring for, then you are accomplishing the goal of a resume. So don't get intimidated by it. I really want to encourage everyone to at least try writing their own resumes, or a few of them, for the next couple of jobs that they apply to. And that way you can get into the groove of creating and customizing your own resumes, because I know that when you're looking for a job, it's just one of those things, you get an opportunity and you want to apply ASAP, but if you have to wait for someone to create a resume for yourself, then it can, be a missed opportunity. So I wanted to put this information out there, and I wanted to give you guys the links to the resources and the tools that I offer to help you be empowered in your own online job search. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope this was helpful, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.